we go. Hello, hello.
Ah, there we go. Just popped up.
Yeah, it's about a good 15-second delay or so.
I still admire people who can go live like an hour, 2, even 3 hours before the trailer drops.
Yeah, those guys are just awesome.
That must require a whole other level of energy.
Well, it probably helps to have the time to do it too.
Yeah, no, that too.
Let's see here. Make sure that. All right, cool. Twitter. What I wish I had is dual screens.
That does help a lot. So, do you reckon we'll see any new Pokemon in this trailer?
I'm betting on it. We probably won't get a name, but we'll probably see something. Maybe Palmy Evolution.
Pony Evolution could be really cool because I'd like to see what it evolves into.
I just really hope that if the evolution itself has hints of Gorochu in it.
That would be really cool.
Well, I mean, considering that it really looks like they've been pushing Betamons as of late. I think between last game and this game.
Yeah, I definitely think it's not a bad idea to try and look back and bring back some of those old designs. Like one design I'd really like to see is I don't know if you've seen it. I think it's the Chain Shock or Anchor Shock.
Oh, what would become Sharpedo?
Yeah.
I think they took that concept and just broke it in two because you've got Sharpedo, which is what the design evolved into, and then you have Dhelmise, which looks like it's an anchor and a wheel.
Yeah. Wouldn't hurt to give Carvana a third evolution. I mean, he is a good fish.
Copy, kill that.
Have you checked out Monster Sanctuary?
I have not.
I reckon if you ever get the time, it is a very good game. Well, obviously, and the money, because yeah, unfortunately, things do cost money.
Yeah. I'm actually eyeballing the Monster Rancher Ultraman Kaiju Trainer thing.
Dude, that just yeah. I don't want to buy it, but I know I'm going to end up buying it. But yeah, a lot of these monster taming games have been coming out recently, and a lot of them have been looking very good.
Well, I think some of the stuff that we've seen, especially as of late, has been a lot of throwback.
No, for sure.
You know, I mean, Monster Rancher. Like, when was the last Monster Rancher game that you saw come out? Was a while ago.
That was
And
only a couple of months ago.
well, I mean, that's the remake. I'm talking about an original game.
Yeah. No, that was easy early 2000s,
Mm-hmm.
if not later or earlier.
And then
Whichever way you
yeah, and then
see it.
you've got I mean, that one's a throwback. Like, the last Ninja Turtles game that came out officially was years ago, and then all of a sudden we've got them in a collection, and then there's a brand new game. So they're really pulling that nostalgia. They're really pulling that nostalgia strings, and I appreciate it, but at the same time, like, why?
Yeah, look, there's definitely a big push towards the retro gaming side of things as of late, and I think a lot of developers and a lot of video game companies in general are trying to capitalize on that.
Mm-hmm. Trying to see here. Hopefully we'll get some the updates any minute now.
Yeah, got 3 minutes to go, I think, if my watch is correct. But yeah, I reckon it's if they released all of the Game Boy and Game Boy Advanced, or all the Game Boy era Pokemon games, they could easily sell them for $30-40 a pop, and they would sell.
For sure.
Also, I saw a video the other day.
Oh.
If you were to get every single Pokemon game, including spin-offs and that, all the way up to Scarlet and Violet, you'd end up paying, I think it's $6,000, or just under $6,500.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Is Suba joining us?
I don't think so. I think he's kind of doing his own thing right now.
Okay. Just asking because his little icon thing is on the stream.
Oh. Forgot to, I gotta turn it off on each layer. It doesn't link them.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's try if I can get the correct screen now. Nope.
Right. How much? Here we go.
Sorry, guys.
Hello?
Here's a wild Ryu.
Well, look at that. Was not expecting Ryu.
What's a bet Yari joins in as well? Oh, that reminds me, I need to taunt him a little bit more.
So I was talking with Jay from the passenger seat, and we came up with this interesting combination. He looked up what pickup does in competitive, and it will pick up a used item from that an opponent has used or a Pokemon has used. So then we came up with the whole choose or skill swap Chew onto a recycle Snorlax with a berry that then you can skill swap your pickup to an opponent, and now you're picking up the berry and literally tricking it back to you, giving it back to Snorlax so he can use it and then cut you again.
That would just turn Snorlax into an absolute tank.
Alright, reloading now because it should be dropping any second. Of course, watch somebody in our Discord going, oh, hey, here it is.
Are you going to stream it to the Discord as well?
Yeah, I'll do that. So this we're all on the same page.
Yeah. Because it did work quite well last time.
Shaking my fist. Come on. Just keeping an eye on our Discord to make sure that what's this? Open the link. Is this it? Yep. The Japanese trailer has it. Alright. I'm gonna pull it. Control V. Enter. Oh, and it's premiering. Alright. Share my screen. Going live. Alright.
Hey, is this on the English one?
I haven't seen it on the English one yet.
Okay. Yeah, it's a bit odd.
That's actually... Why did it get so large all of a sudden? There we go. So now we're going to see the Japanese one, I guess. We'll start off with that.
Yeah, I suppose it doesn't really make much of a difference.
Alright, here we go.
We just won't be able to understand it yet. Let's do this, team. Good old Rotom phone. Nani?
I don't take Magnemite.
I like the presentation already.
Yeah, I thought those Magnemite were hair accessories, but they seem to be acting more like Pokemon.
What is Magnemite shiny supposed to be pink?
No, it's like a gold.
Okay.
Wait, is this a new one? It looks like a new Magnemite though.
No, I don't think this is a new Magnemite. This is just introducing the new gym leader, and we're hoping to catch something. I do like how the accessories defy gravity.
Oh, that's what I was saying. They do act a bit Pokemon-like.
Yeah. Well, that's a Pikachu.
You sure about that? Could be a Jigglypuff from the top.
God, I love that episode.
Yeah, either electric or steel. I'm leaning more towards steel. But she does have like a Pikachu tail on her star on her coat thing, so I reckon she could be electric.
Why do? It's so weird because, like you said before, those hair accessories. look like accessories, but then just a minute ago they look like actual Pokemon.
They are actual.
Yeah, they blink and do everything.
Yeah,
So it's
that is so odd.
Remember, they are magnets. So you remember.
It's just the way they animated those hair accessories. Okay, so
unless they are, and Magnemite's now fairy electric.
That's the thing, it doesn't look like the original Magnemite. Oh,
doesn't look like the English trailer's dropped yet.
Ah, no, it has.
Has it?
Yes, Lono's partner Pokemon. I'll send you the link.
Ah, yeah, I see it. All right. Since it looks like this is all they're doing. That's
Yeah, I reckon we do need.
let's see what the English trailer has to say.
Oh, it's just subtitles. I reckon those Magnemite are regional variants.
yeah, if you look at the original, is
Let's see. It's all kinds of sunny here in Paldea.
I'm pretty sure we've seen the regular in the game.
Yeah, but even in last trailer, they did show normal Wooper.
Yeah, this one's gonna be a Paldea one.
Who's Ino's partner?
Yeah, I'm getting a very steel type vibe.
I reckon Fairy Electric, because it does seem like she might actually be an electric gym leader.
So I'm gonna just throw something out there for you. They obviously silhouetted Pikachu, right? And the one thing you would never expect is for them to mess around with Pikachu. So what if they decided this time around they messed around with Pikachu and gave you an actual Pikachu variant?
She's just said that those are hair clips, so they're not actually
The
Magnemite.
I'm an HTV channel, and dude, people are hating on this. I'm like, are you serious? Come on.
I'll be honest, it isn't the greatest, but generates electricity with its belly. There's gonna be another trailer next week.
There's gonna be another damn trailer next week.
Of course.
Yeah.
Although I'm gonna say I'm loving the detail work in the clothing, and there is a lot of good secondary and tertiary motion on the character and the clothing. They really did put a lot of effort into this particular trailer.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Okay, I'm getting how it is.
Well,
Yeah, that was that was basically nothing, but
Yeah.
Well,
um,
they're just introducing the gym leader. That's it. I don't know what people
right,
are
guys,
expecting.
thanks for watching the podcast. Um,
What was that?
no, no, I said, right, guys, thanks for watching. That's been the podcast. Nice short stream.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sadly, there was really nothing much there except just the introduction of a new gym leader, which is cool and all. But the teasing of another Pokemon. But at the same time, this is what I was actually asking for, so I can't really complain. They took my wish and they monkey pawed it, but you know what? It was still what I wanted. Just a little
I'm telling you.
something, and then lead me into something else to look forward to.
Hold on, I've just clocked something. So there's been a lot of leak and a lot of speculation and a lot of rumor that we're going to have an electric toad Pokemon. And
Mhm.
one of her descriptors was it inflates its belly to generate electricity. What do frogs do when they're calling out to each other and to their mates? They inflate. Well, I don't know what you call it, but it's like a sack on the bottom of their chest.
Yeah.
Also described it as squishy, although a frog's not too cute. So
Hey. Speak for
dunno.
yourself. The Puerto Rican coquille is absolutely adorable.
I don't know. I would love to see an electric frog. But yeah, there are gonna be some wild rumors coming out before next week.
Yeah, that's for sure. Let's see here. Hang on. So I'm gonna show people
Okay.
these.
I'm watching the trailer myself.
Do. See, this is the Puerto Rican coquille. He's adorable.
Where's this?
You'll see him on stream in just a second.
Uh,
He's adorable. And they don't make that.
I mean,
They don't make that type sound. They actually sound more like a whistle, and they whistle the name, which is how they got their name. You just hear cookie, cookie. You get a whole bunch of them.
Is
in
it
a
a
row, they'll
tree
sound
frog?
like- yeah, it's actually a tree frog.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we've got tree frogs at our place, so I know the kind of noise you're describing.
The funny thing is that
Probably
these guys
not
are
the exact
tiny.
one, but
These guys are tiny, like super tiny, and they make a loud noise. But yeah, I mean, as far as get rid of that. This trailer goes, it's a good tease. I think it's a good lead into the very next trailer that they're gonna drop most likely next week. I don't think they're gonna string us along for longer than that, because that would probably end up with riots.
well, Draco, you got a very busy 2 weeks, my dude.
I got a busy month. I mean, my wife's birthday is this weekend, so yeah, I've got a ton of stuff to do.
Okay, so what do you guys think about the Magnemite?
They're just hair clips. I mean, they're cute and all, but that's all they are. If that's all they are, then that's all they are. I'm not gonna lead too much into it.
No, I know that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, she does mention they just like high tech hair clips,
See, so
which is
said what-
wild. We truly do live in a society.
yeah, she sounded like your type of gym leader.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because the first time I saw it from one of the leaks, and obviously she had the Magnemite and the Bolt accessories and that So I thought maybe steel,
What's the
but
one
now I'm
that
leaning
they
more towards
show
electric.
either Magnemite or Magneton in the
Well, I mean,
Well, I know her supposed what number she's supposed to be in the gym order, so it is very likely.
I think what we need to take into account, honestly, is the whole aspect that they're already talking about misleading. So she's got the Magnemite hair clips, but Magnemite's not her favorite Pokemon. So we can automatically assume that that trailer's kind of hinting to that things that are obvious are not actually the truth. So what did they show when she said, which is my favorite Pokemon? They showed a silhouette of Pikachu, but then she starts talking about something completely a different Pokemon altogether. And she, even said it's not Magnemite, that's my favorite. These are just hair clips. And, obviously they're alluding to what is it? They're alluding to the fact that what we think is the logical answer is actually not the logical answer. So I think this is the game that Game Freak decided to really flip the script on a lot of things that they have traditionally done. And the more they reveal, the more it shows that they're definitely pulling from a new playbook.
Well, I mean, yeah, I can agree with that because when the gym leaders leaked, there was a gym leader who we now know as Brassius, and nobody actually sort of guessed that he would be the grass type gym leader. There's another gym leader that looked more like they would be a grass type leader, and that's who everyone, or well, the majority of people thought was going to be, and then it turns out, no, this dark and gloomy guy who should realistically be a dark type gym leader is actually the grass type gym leader.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like everything that we have traditionally known about Pokemon and things that we have taken for granted as, oh, well, this is the status quo. I think when Game Freak decided to jump into a full world, open world playset, that they really started just to spin ideas of what can we do to make this game stand out from every game we have done in the past. Because this is a brand new game, a brand new mode of play. I mean, we've never had a game like this for Pokemon as far as that has been the case. So, I
No,
mean,
definitely.
can we pull from the same old playbook at that point? Would it even be fitting for Game Freak to do that? And I think in this case, no. I think in this case they took every opportunity to make all these kinds of changes so that they can basically rebuild the brand from the inside out without bringing any harm to it, because this is the biggest entertainment property that we have. And I mean,
No.
coming from someone who saw this as an adult come to life and then spring into how popular it has become, I can honestly tell you this is a protected property. They're not going to do anything to endanger tarnishing the name of it if they can avoid it. Yeah, they've made mistakes in the past, but they've always been very calculated on what they put the Pokemon brand name on. It has never been anything questionable or anything that can be construed into something negative. And this goes for the video games as well. You will never see an FPS Pokemon game. That will never happen. Even though there are people who are making a Pokemon-esque FPS game. But you will never see Pokemon in any kind of a light that would tarnish it. So of course, they've got to be very, very cautious. So them being able to rebuild this brand from the inside out with an open world game, I think is brilliant. And I think we need to take into account that what we knew from everything from Gen 8 and back is pretty much out the window. And hello, Professor Bond. Welcome.
Oh, what's cracking, Professor Bond? Yeah, no, definitely. I think they've definitely taken the mold shattered it, and buried the pieces at the bottom of the ocean. So
Okay, so we are doing a podcast this week or no?
we can talk about that afterwards.
Yeah,
I think.
but as far as this trailer goes, this tease, and this and this reveal, considering the fact that they pretty much all but blatantly said, "Hey, guess what? Tune in next week because then we'll get answers." I think this was a solid drop, so to speak. I like the fact that they made it the character the main focus. Like they actually took the time to animate the character, to give the character a personality, to give the character a voice, and let her be her in her own environment. And I think that was actually a brilliant idea on Game Freak's side.
Yeah, that also actually that makes me think because she's obviously a content creator, whether she's a live streamer of YouTube or just like a YouTuber just makes videos and posts them. I wonder if that indicates whether we'll have like a battle replay thing for our Pokemon battles, because you'd assume when you go and battle at her gym, she's going to live stream it.
I would actually like to see that come
So
back. Sharing battles, I think, was one of
yeah,
the things that really Sword and Shield missed.
yeah, it's definitely a feature that needs to come back, especially since competitive starting to pick up a lot again. A lot of people are trying to get into it, and you know those 1 in 100 clutch moves, and you know you got to have them on video somewhere. I know the Switch has its built-in and capture thing, but it's only the last 30 seconds. So if they can find a way to incorporate it again, I would enjoy that quite a bit.
I'm gonna go for next. I'll see you.
What's up,
buddy?
I said I'm gonna go for now.
all right? And Professor Bonds agreed about the brand. Though I feel that they are making a as profitable move with what they do, which is true. As well as making the leader a streamer makes them relatable, and this is also true. But I also think that you can't. You got to remember the games have been out for 30 years, and from an old guy speaking, because I'll be turning 44. A lot of technology has actually changed from when the games first came out to today. Back when the games originally came out, the internet was still pretty new, and streaming was kind of a not gonna happen because people were on dial-up modems that couldn't facilitate information as fast as we get them today. Um, YouTube wasn't around. Google was still sparkling new, or even if it was even a thought. There was so much that they couldn't that we didn't have back then. So of course the gym leaders then, in the mindset of video games as well, was here's this fantasy world with creatures. These are the people that would live in it. But as we've seen with the continuation of the game series as a whole, um, they've made the gym leaders much more relatable to different people from different walks of life. Because if you look at the grass gym leader from Sword and Shield, he was kind of like a ranch hand, and that really appeals to people who might appeal to people who are into farming and stuff. Like, it gives them someone to connect with. And now we've got a streamer who they've personified as a very upbeat, peppy streamer, and she's a content creator. So that character's going to pull a certain atmosphere of people, and that's going to make those people connect with her, and that's just only going to aid the brand in the long run.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%. And it is nice that this is a fantasy world, but it's very much a blend of what we perceive the world as today, or where it's going in the future, mixed with these fantasy creatures. So it's not like Skyrim or Monster Hunter level fantasy. It does kind of make it more. I don't know if immersive is the correct term. But yeah.
I mean, as long as Pokemon Game Freak find ways to make that very hard connection with their fan base, or even just make it more appealing to other people who aren't part of the fan base yet, they're going to hang around. They're going to linger, and them making these kinds of moves to try and incorporate people from different walks of life as characters to either see, interact, or even be, I think is novel in a way that most other games can't really do because they're stuck in this framework. Whereas Pokemon is able to technically evolve as each game comes out. They're able to do different things, introduce different types of characters, and still make it inclusive into the world that Pokemon takes place in, but also inclusive to our world, so that it helps bridge that gap.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think there's just something about Pokemon where I think they've been around because they've been around. They've had time to develop their brand, but apart from that, there is something about Pokemon that makes it stand above there.
I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, I did not think Pokemon was going to last that long. I thought after Generation 2 it was over because everywhere you walked, it was Pokemon this, Pokemon that, Pokemon here, Pokemon there, Pokemon cards, Pokemon clothes, Pokemon TV show, Pokemon games, Pokemon being shoved down everybody's throat, and it's like, oh, this is not gonna last because people are gonna get sick of looking at Pokemon. But they captured lightning in a bottle, and they continually do so. Maybe not to people, maybe not to the extent that people would like. Some people do have harsh criticism over the company, but you got to admit they're steamrolling, and there's no signs of them stopping. And as long as they keep innovating the game, especially ways like this, they're going to continue to keep rolling.
Yeah, look, didn't they actually? On that note, didn't they want to cancel the series after Gold and Silver? And that's why they included both Kanto and Johto in the game.
I think they didn't feel that it was going to continue on. And then it was, I cannot remember his name right now, but the old CEO who passed away was working as a developer at the time, and he managed to reconfigure the compression rate. And so by the end of his reprogramming, they were like, okay, we've got a ton of extra space. What do we do? They included Kanto back into the new games, and I think that's what pushed the franchise into a whole new level, and what allowed the franchise to keep on not only going but thriving. I think it was that one inclusive bit that pushed the franchise to a whole new level. And unfortunately, we've not seen that since the remake of Gold and Silver.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, because nobody was expecting to go back to Kanto. Like when we got Johto, we were like, all right, cool, Johto, a new adventure with, we can transfer our old Pokemon over. That's huge. That was great because, rarely do you ever get a game where you get to transfer characters from an old version into the new version. But then they were like, oh, and now we have breeding, so you can make more of your favorite Pokemon. Okay, that was new. It used to be one and done. You had to spend all this time training, and if you found a better Pokemon, then you had to go back and redo all the training, and then the training machines were never reusable. Now you could reuse them in a way with breed chaining. Like Gold and Silver did something nobody saw coming, and that in itself really massively launched the series straight through.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the the game does have its niggles here and there, but yeah, I always find myself coming back and playing Pokemon games more so than games. So there's definitely a draw to the franchise. I think they've done well.
Let's see here, Professor Bond. When Gen 3 came out, I know the hype was dying down. I barely saw advertisement for Gen 4. I stopped playing Pokemon after Gen 3, got back in on Gen 5 because I had to see how they did my home state. Something tells me that you and I live fairly close together, Bond. Just saying. I'm over in Jersey. But yeah, no. Gen 5 for me was a great generation. They did some interesting things with that as well. And it just, again, Gen 5 did things that were novel at the time. No one thought about being able to upload your Pokemon up onto the internet and play mini games on the internet for an hour and get more stuff out of your game. Like, it gave you a reason to jump on the Pokemon game. So, then you had the Dream Radar that came out afterwards for the 3DS, which also incorporated some of the Generation 5 stuff, or the Generation 5 game. So like they went out crazy with that game, which is probably one of the reasons why it's so beloved. 6 was okay, 7 was okay. 8 was on the Switch for the first time, so home console, woo! But I think 9 is gonna be another milestone generation, with it being open world and all that.
Yeah, look, I think Gen 5, definitely the best Pokemon, in my opinion, the best Pokemon generation of the DS era. Or should I say new generation, because Heart Gold and Soul Silver were pretty tough to beat. But in terms of just the main series games and not remake, Gen 5 was the best, and I think Gen 9 is going to be the Switch, because Gen 5, phenomenal story. Okay, the designs weren't too great. That was just the style for the time. But yeah, definitely think they pulled all the stops for Gen 9.
Yeah,
I think they definitely. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead and finish your thought.
I was I was basically done. I was going to say, I definitely think the Switch is going to be pushed to its limit with Gen 9.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. I think the only reason why there's limitations is because people like me are still running on the older versions, on the original Switches, which aren't as updated as the newer ones coming off the line now. But the fact that there's a huge memory capacity that you can put into the system, I think we'll see. We're only starting to scrape the top of the iceberg, so to speak, as far as capacity for things on the Switch. But we won't know until we get Gen 9 and see how that performs. But I definitely do believe that Gens 2, 5, and 9 will, we're Gens 2 and 5 were mile markers, were huge in their own right, and probably the best games out there on the franchise. I think 9 is going to be up there as well. I think 9 is going to be the third great game of Pokemon.
Yeah, I definitely think Gen 9 has potential to outsell the first generation. Because I mean, that's been stood on top for the past 8 generations, and that's been what, over 20 years, it's been the best. They've been the best-selling Pokemon games. So
Yeah,
I think Sword and Shield, I think, are the second best now. I think they took Heart Gold, Silver.
I think honestly the only reason why Sword and Shield did as good as it did was because it was the first console, quote unquote, console version of a Pokemon game that people were really hyped to get into. But at the end of the day, I think there's more. It felt more lackluster than what people were really hoping to get, and Gen 9 is what we were all kind of expecting for a console game as far as Pokemon goes. So I think the numbers are doing much better for Gen 9 than they did for Sword and Shield. So, I mean, I think it's pretty clear to say that this was the message that we wanted to that players wanted to push to Game Freak, that this is what they've been wanting for decades. This open world environment that has living, breathing Pokemon. Because if you go back and you check out a game called Quest 64, Quest 64 was an open world game that had monsters on the field popping up, and then once you touch them, you would go into a battle sequence. And if they could have done that for the Nintendo 64, why did we have to wait so long to get something similar out of Pokemon? And that's been, I think, one of the biggest arguments about the games. And I seriously, our viewers, go check it out. Go check out Quest 64 on the Nintendo 64. It was a very basic, rudimentary game at the time, but if you compare it to Pokemon Stadium, you could have had an open world Pokemon game way back then.
Yeah. Scarlet and Violet are definitely a set of Pokemon games that people want to think. Sword and Shield, I think they did. There was, I'd be wrong in saying that, but I think it was the open world. Apart from DLC, which pretty much fully open. But yeah, I think that the Breath of the Wild version of Pokemon that people have been wanting for a very, very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait. The more they show, the more I want to see of this. So I can't wait.
Honestly, November can't come quick enough.
Right? Well, I think we'll end stream here. Just because I know we're starting to run on tangents, and sadly I have work. So, thank you for joining us, everyone.
That does sound like a
What was that?
yep. Was a great stream. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, that does sound like a bit of a problem, that work thing.
Yeah, 4-letter word everybody hates. But thanks for all for joining, and catch you on our next episode, which should be dropping in about 20 minutes. So enjoy. Bye.
Cheers, everybody.